Hi, in this short lecture I'm going to talk to you about choosing the best response. Now, one of the things that we have discussed throughout this semester is how gender impacts communication, right? And we find generally that women are more likely to provide supportive responses when presented with a problem, that they're better at phrasing these responses, and they're more likely to seek out these kinds of responses from other people. And I suggest to you that this has to do with, or has to deal with, the fact that women in general, as a group, have higher emotional intelligence than men, right? They possess more cognitive complexity, they're able to think of situations from multiple angles, and they have a better understanding of emotions and a greater capacity, it seems, for compassion, empathy, and sympathy than men do. So as a result, it's not at all surprising that women are more likely to give supportive responses and look for these kinds of responses from others as well. Men are just less skillful at offering this kind of support and more likely to respond by offering advice, right, a solution to a problem, or by changing the topic. Now, at the same time, both men and women want supportive and endorsing messages in difficult situations. Everyone wants to have support. Everyone wants to hear a supportive message, regardless of gender. It's just that women are more likely to, to give it and look for it than men. Excuse me. Another factor that's important to think about in terms of responding is situation, your context, where you're at, right? So a good communicator needs to take stock of the situation, figure out where they're at, figure out the context that they're operating in, and they think about that and consider it before they come up with a response. So generally, when we do this, right, it's important to start with responses that encourage understanding. So maybe your response is to paraphrase or to ask a sincere question, right? Then we want to gather the facts. We want to make sure that we understand the situation. Then we want to show that we're honestly concerned, that we're genuinely concerned. And it's only then that we should really consider analyzing, advising, and evaluating kinds of responses. The other thing that has to be considered, of course, is the person. Is the other person defensive? Are they emotionally and cognitively capable of thinking through their situation, right? Oftentimes when someone goes through a really traumatic situation, they're not prepared emotionally or cognitively to deal with it, right? Oftentimes people are too upset, they're flooding, right, to use a term that we discussed earlier in the semester. They have adrenaline running through their system, their mind's clouded, they're in the midst of a fight or flight response, and they're not ready to really consider what's going on. So you need to ask yourself, is this person able to think through this problem? And then you have to think about, what does the person really want from me, right? Do they want to know what you think, or do they just need someone to listen to them? Now, most of us stick to one or two different response styles. We generally find a form of response that works for us with most people, and then we use those again and again and again. So as you think about how you're going to respond to another person's message, think about your strengths and weaknesses as a responder and adapt accordingly, right? If you know that you tend to be judgmental, then maybe you need to start with more of an evaluation, with sincere questioning, or with paraphrasing to effectively deal with the other person's message and help them through whatever problems they're having at the moment. Okay, that's it for Chapter 8. Thanks for checking out my lectures.